Hi. I think one of the most important contributions that I make to this course is the feedback that I give you on your papers. Now, you will be receiving this week your paper and feedback on assignment 1. I want you to take a close look at the feedback because it is a cliche, but it is true, as are many cliches, that we learn from our mistakes. I know that sometimes criticism is hard to take. It's hard for me to take sometimes too. But as a writer and an editor for many years, I learned that despite the fact that I might not like what was said, almost always my writing was stronger and better for having a good editor point out where it could be improved. So please take the information that I give you seriously. It comes in the form of an attachment in the grade book. So you'll see your grade and you'll see a comment and you'll also see an attachment. And when you click on the attachment, a Microsoft Word document will open. Now, I use a Microsoft Word change tracking system to give my feedback. And it is best if you view the resulting document in Microsoft Word, but if you don't have Microsoft Word, there are other apps that will allow you to read the comments. For example, there is a free program called Apache OpenOffice, which has a text processing program that works with the change tracking. I understand that Apple platform also allows Microsoft Word change tracking information to be seen. It does not work that well with Google Docs, unfortunately. You can still see the comments, but it's not always, at least in my quick look at it, it's not always helpful in relating the comment to a specific part of the paper. So I think you'll see what I mean if you try it. But if you don't have Microsoft Word and you, for some reason, don't have access to any of those other programs that might work, I would encourage you to try to find another machine somewhere that would that has Microsoft Word. I'm not asking you to buy Microsoft Word, but maybe you have a work computer or a friend's computer that you could use to help you with this, because I can't stress enough how important it is for you to be reading this feedback. Sometimes I will look at a paper, it might be the second assignment that a student has done, and I'll think, there are all the same mistakes here that I saw on the first assignment. What happened? Did the student actually read the feedback? So, in order to make my job a little bit easier and make your job a little bit easier, I've come up with a system that I call the key to identifying grammar and mechanical issues. And it is my own sort of shorthand in which I identify the main problems that students usually have in mechanics and grammar, and I give those problems a number. So you will see under handouts on the left navigation panel, I'm going to post this chart under handouts so you can access it readily. Print out a copy for yourself so you have it at hand when you are looking through the comments in your paper, because there will be two types of comments. First of all, there will be written comments, so that I might, for example, tell you that you need to be more concise here, or you need to be, you need to just revise a sentence or place it elsewhere in the paragraph. But there are also numbers that refer to specific grammatical issues. So if you look here in the chart, the error number is in the first column. That's what will appear on the paper in red in parentheses. The name of the problem is in the second column here. In the third column, and this is the part that makes it easier for you. In the third column is a link to the Purdue OWL website that specifically addresses that particular problem. So, for example, if you get a sentence that is marked 1A, that means it is a fragment. And if you click on the link to the Purdue OWL website, it will take you directly to the, well, you have to, in Word, you have to do Control and click, okay? So that should take you directly to the Purdue OWL website that deals with fragments. And I wonder if it's back here somewhere. No? Okay. I'm going to pause. It just took a long time to load, trust me. Anyway, so here is the Purdue Online Writing Lab site. Purdue Online Writing Lab, some of you may be familiar with it already. It really is one of the premier grammar and mechanics websites, really for all matters pertaining to MLA, APA style, paragraph construction, all kinds of writing issues. It's a great resource. So you just especially once you see a pattern of errors, for example, say you have a problem with misusing pronouns or misusing apostrophes, focus on that, and when you are editing your paper, go through it one time just to focus on that one particular problem. So if we look at the error numbers here, they range from 1 to 14, okay? And the number 1, there's A, B, C, and D. So I guess really you could say there are 18 or 19 different errors, and certainly that is not a comprehensive list, but those cover most cases. So A, B, C, and D are all sentence errors. You have the fragment, you have the run-on, you have the comma splice, which is really a form of run-on, and you have what's called mixed construction, which means you started off the sentence one way, and then the sentence simply got off track somewhere in the middle. Numbers 2, 3, and 4 all have to do with verb usage. So you leave the ED off a past tense verb, or you have the wrong form of the verb to the simple past rather than the past participle form. Any of those would be a 2, a 3, or a 4. If you shift verb tense, you're talking in the present tense, and then all of a sudden you shift to the past without any reason for doing so. That's called a shift in verb tense, and you don't want to do that. Agreement of subject and verb, we have that problem in the present tense. Little weird aspect of English is that in the present tense, third person singular, the verb typically has an S on the end, and in the third person plural, it does not. We call that subject-verb agreement because it depends, the verb form depends on what the person and number of the subject is. Numbers 8, 9, and 10 numbers 5, 6, and 7 are pronoun problems. These are very, very, very common, especially the problem of unclear pronoun references, because pronouns have to refer to a specific noun or phrase that occurs previously in the sentence, or certainly at least in the paragraph, but nearby and easily identifiable. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. So, for example, we use they as a sort of nebulous reference to somebody. So that's one problem. Another is the agreement of pronoun with the antecedent. The antecedent is the noun or pronoun that the pronoun replaces, that it takes the place of. That's called the antecedent, and they have to agree in number. So if the antecedent is singular, the pronoun obviously has to be singular. Antecedent is plural, the pronoun has to be plural. Numbers 8, 9, 10, and 11 are obviously mechanical problems. Things like spelling, capitalization, missing words. Missing words are a very, very tough thing sometimes to find. I had an experience when I was working for an advertising agency and publishing a corporate brochure that was read by gosh, I would guess a dozen different people, professionals, all of whom missed a word that was repeated, actually, not missing, but repeated. And what happened was the word appeared at the end of the line and then again at the beginning of the next line. And of course, unless you're reading very carefully, the mind is easily tricked into only seeing it once. You only expect to see it once, and you just don't really note it. The brain doesn't note it a second time. So the only way you can be sure that you're not leaving out words and that you're not repeating words unknowingly is to read word for word, slowly, out loud. Word for word, slowly, out loud. It takes some time, but it pays off. And you'll find a lot of the errors that you'll regret making when I send your paper back to you and note it. Number 12 is a word choice. It just didn't fit the word that you picked there. Numbers 13A and 13B, I find myself writing a lot because I'm a bit of a bug about conciseness. And I think it's one of the most important qualities in writing, frankly. So 13A is when you've repeated something you've already said, whether exactly, which would be repetition, or in using different words, which would be technically called redundant. 13B is wordy. And here I have to make an important caution. Wordy does not ever really, in my lexicon, mean that you use too many details. Details are rarely the problem. I rarely see students giving too many details that are on topic. I see a lot of details that are off topic, but that's the reason that they shouldn't be there. It's not that it's wordy. Wordy means something different. Wordiness is using more words than you need to express the thought that you have. Well, take some of the simple phrases that we use every day. At this particular point in time. Well, that's at this particular point in time. That's 6 words. How many words do you need to say that? 1. Now. So, as I say, I'm a little bit of a bug about that. So, you will probably see that. Number 14 is just simply a typo or an obvious error. Sometimes I will also, I don't use these proofreading symbols so much because mostly they're intended for handwritten comments. But I do often use the question mark in the comment box area, if I just simply don't understand what it is you're trying to say. So let me just stress once again the importance of your studying that document that I return to you. Please don't get to the middle of the semester and say I didn't realize that I had feedback on that, because there's always feedback, and I spend a lot of time creating that feedback. I know you invest a lot of time in your paper, and I try to be respectful of that and to give you good feedback so that you can improve on the things that you need to improve and understand things that you're already strong on. So if you have any questions about this system, or if you have any problem matching the numbers with the appropriate remedial, if you will, material, just let me know, email me, or send me a text, whatever. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, let me know.